Can you tell us a little bit about your new book, Choosing to See, a Framework for Equity in the Math Classroom?
Yeah, so you know, in 2000, NCTM published Principles and Standards for School Mathematics, and a lot of us in the math ed community were really pleased that they led with that equity principle, because there were those of us who have been advocating for equity for many years. But unfortunately, some 20 plus years later, we still don't see a difference in outcomes, right? And, when you think about other content areas, if you want to make, say, language arts more culturally relevant, then you can have students read literature that reflects the backgrounds of the students in the classroom, right? Or in a social studies class, you can study the cultures and the backgrounds that reflect the students in your classroom. But math teachers have always been really hard pressed for what does it mean to teach for equity, to engage in culturally relevant teaching in a math class, right? Because they think it's all about the numbers, right? And so part of the reason for writing the book is to really give teachers specific strategies and techniques to engage in equitable and culturally relevant and responsive teaching practices. And so I met my co-author at an NCSM conference in Boston, where she came to a presentation I was doing, and she introduced herself, and we had similar interests in terms of math and equity. And so we started presenting together. And then I was approached by a publisher about writing a book. And so, after having met and presented with my co-author, Dr. Pamela Seda, she shared with me a framework that she developed as part of her doctoral dissertation. And, I had been looking for a framework for this equity book that I wanted to write. And so when I met her and found out about her framework, I said, hey, let's write it together. And so we ended up finding another publisher. And this is kind of what we did over the COVID pandemic. We, put this book together. And so it came out in almost a year ago. It's hard to believe. It's been very well received. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback on the book. And again, like I said, it's based upon my co-author's framework called the ICU Care Framework. And each letter in ICU Care stands for one of the 7 principles, and they are include others as experts, be critically conscious, understand your students well, use culturally relevant curricula, assess, activate, and build on prior knowledge, release control, and expect more. And we feel that if teachers are able to engage in all of these principles, that they will have a much more equitable classroom than if they didn't.
Absolutely. I know we really enjoyed the book. And so thank you so much for sharing that.